Honey, don't walk out, I'm too drunk to follow. You know you won't feel this way tomorrow. Well, I'm a little rough around the edges and inside a little hollow. And I'm faced with something sometimes that are so hard to swallow. Hey, but I was born a rebel down in Beauty on a Tuesday morning. Of 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. She picked me up in the morning and she paid on my ticket, said, screamed in the car and let me out in the thicket. Well, I never would have dreamed that her heart was so wicked. I keep coming back, 'cause it's so hard to kick it. Hey, 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 and I was born a rebel down in Dixie on a Sunday morning. Of 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot's on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Even before my father's father, well, they called us all rebels. They burn out our crops and they leveled our town. Well, I still feel the eyes of those red-coated devils, and I'm walking around tonight through the concrete and metal. Hey, 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 'cause I was born a rebel up in Beauty on a Tuesday morning. I've 1 foot in the grave, I've 1 foot on the pedal. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. Hey, 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 I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. I was born a rebel. If there be but 100 of us remained alive, never would we under any condition be brought under anybody's idea of a new world order. It is, in truth, not for honor, nor for glory, nor for riches that we are fighting, but for freedom. For that one thing alone which no honest person would give up save with life itself. Once we were warrior poets. For now, we must stand for peace. But if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance, and our day is coming. Well, how are you? I'm sure someone will spoil my evening, but at the moment, England's losing 1-0 to the Democratic People's Republic of Congo, which brightens a Scotsman's heart. What can I tell you? Especially when my mother-in-law has them in the sweepstake. And that's about where the good news stops, I'm afraid. CERN shut down and for scheduled, so they say, maintenance until 2030. And they had a shutting down conference. And in the shutting down conference, and thanks for that, Stephen, uh, they joked that they had accidentally, oh thanks, Catherine, see, I knew you'd spoil my night. They joked that they'd accidentally destroyed the world in 2012. And they said sorry. Now, I don't believe that's true. Even though, if you think about the craziness since, hey, you know, nowadays, who can freaking tell? We are in the limbo period of, oh, well, there we go, David. Thanks. I knew you'd spoil me. 1966 all over again. um, we're in the limbo period of governance in this United Kingdom. And Keir Starmer, as he goes out, continues to, well, fuck things up even more. So there is a 5 billion funding hole in the Ministry of Defence's new program of defense, which is pretty much based entirely upon drones. So the problem is that Britain has given literally hundreds of billions to the Nazi regime in Kiev already. The reason our military is in such a shocking state is because of the war in Ukraine. The reason our economy, oh, yes, that's right, you're going to be paying even more for your gas and electricity here in the United Kingdom, even though we pay twice what France does. Go figure. But the reason for all of that is Keir Starmer's love of the people, or at least Zelensky in Ukraine, which is the main point of his bid to take over as NATO General Secretary in 2028. You couldn't make it up. Andy Burnham, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's all fucking crap. Britain just continues to crack down more and more on free speech. So we'll see how things go. But recently they arrested an American journalist at Liverpool Airport for posting things that were pro-Russian. He was only telling the truth. There is a saying in Russia: shit floats, gold sinks. I guess that helps to explain the current political situation across at least the so-called Western world, where our leaders in the Western world are the most deviant, the most incompetent, the most corrupt that they have ever been in world history. And no one exemplifies this more than the giant Oompa Loompa in the White House called Donald J. Trump. The Kremlin has officially stated that they believe Trump to be emotionally compromised, to be acting on emotion. In other words, it's not dementia, they say, but they are subtly hinting that they believe they are dealing with a madman in the White House. It's kind of hard to gainsay that, really, isn't it? The continued non existent negotiations with Iran. Iran has begged for talks. Iran says, no, we didn't, fuck off. China says it's not going to take Iranian oil. China says, no, we didn't, fuck off. I want to paint the reflecting pool a different colour, and I'm going to give my buddy the contract worth millions. It's not going out to public tender. And the paint's peeling off. Quite frankly, Donald, you should have contacted me. I'd have done a better job, much cheaper. Or the grand triumphal arch that's been built that looks like it was done in the 1970s by Blue fucking Peter. It's the shabbiest shit you've ever seen. The concert arranged by Trump, there were more musicians on stage than people watching it. Trump, as a gift to the White House on the 250th anniversary of the United States, which will be on Saturday, July the 4th. Well, he's raised a giant gilded eagle. All it's missing is the Roman or Nazi wreath in its claws. He's erecting golden statues of himself. He wants a 40-foot one in the Trump Presidential Library, which will be the only presidential library in history that will contain no documents. It might have a golf course attached, it might have hotel rooms attached, but it doesn't have any fucking books. This man ripped out the Rose Garden to build a ballroom that is still, oh my god, it's going to be the gaudiest thing since fucking Versailles. And I genuinely, I do genuinely feel sorry for the people of the United States because this man is going to utterly ruin your 250th birthday celebrations. Something which could have been done with dignity and honor is going to be a giant fucking Donald I'm the greatest in the world shit show. So it's out in the open. Russia, which means China, which means North Korea, which means Iran, all of them now think they're dealing with a lunatic, literally. Someone with Joe Biden, he had dementia. Trump's mental capacities are certainly fading, but worse than that, they think they're dealing with someone who has gone insane. And they are measuring their geopolitical responses in line with that fact. Trump cannot handle the fact that he lost the war to Iran. I'll come back to that shortly. But because he can't handle the fact that he lost the war to Iran, he's lashing out looking for something to give him a win. And so Rubio and the Rubio side of the White House is getting all full on engaged again with Project Ukraine. People ask, why hasn't Putin already put an end to this thing? Why hasn't Putin already sent missiles to Germany and France and the UK? Why? Because Putin doesn't want thermonuclear war, but he's dealing with a madman. Moreover, Trump is such a madman that if he feels his legacy is that much in trouble, his family name is that much in trouble, Russia fears that he may well decide to go nuclear. Couple of things on Ukraine before I get to Russia. Zelensky's never in Kiev because he's too fucking scared to be. He's currently in Ireland with his begging bowl. Someone said it in the comments. Did you know that now the Ukrainian regime, see, when someone is as corrupt as Zelensky, when a country is as corrupt as Ukraine, it doesn't matter how much money you're grifting from the taxpayers of the European Union or the United States. You always want more. The begging bowl is always out. The grift is always out. The one thing Zelensky learned from creepy, sleepy Joe Biden was 10% for the big guy. And in his own Zelensky madness, he now imagines himself to be the big guy. So at the port of Odessa, along with the Western weapons, along with the drones, now the ships are also carrying in product from the cartels in South America. Cartels who have been given US weapons, NATO weapons from Ukraine, given, sold. And now Zelensky, who, let's face it, likes the product, is facilitating narcotics flooding into Europe through Ukraine. 10% for the big guy. Alex last night talked about the oligarch who was attacked in Monaco. The Monaco police are no longer calling it a terrorist attack. They seem to have figured things out. This oligarch, well, his big business wasn't winemaking or anything like that. No, no, no. His big business was fraudulent call centers in Odessa and Kiev, employing thousands of Ukrainians who are spamming the public of the EU. And it's bringing in big moolah. The fight between him and Zelensky was getting greedy. He wanted more than the 10% for the big guy. Capiche? So he set the SBU to, send a message. Might as well have put a horse's head on the guy's fucking pillow, because that's what we're now dealing with. But here's the reality check. Europe and United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and everywhere else where you have imported these fucking crackheads, these monsters from Ukraine. They will turn on you like rabid fucking animals. Expect that sort of Monaco terrorism to be happening in a town, a village, a street near you. Everywhere that you've been flying that Ukrainian fucking flag, well, you've got a fucking nut job living there. You've got a corrupt Nazi piece of shit living there. But that's all right. You go ahead saying Slava, whatever. Zelensky also now thinks that it's quite okay for him to target the Russian Shadow Fleet. That means more British developed sea drones operating in international waters like the Mediterranean Sea, being a bigger hazard to shipping than any mines Iran has put into the Straits of Hormuz. Actually, I don't think Iran has mined the Straits of Hormuz. They don't need to. And if they did, well, the US would have an even bigger fucking problem, wouldn't they? The Russians have sent their flagship nuclear cruiser to its Arctic base. That's because of the threats ongoing against the Russian Baltic Fleet. Kaliningrad, as I have long told you, is apt to be the biggest flashpoint. Right now, as we speak, Kiev and Odessa and other Ukrainian cities, but Kiev and Odessa especially, are being hammered by Su-57 bombers, by missiles of all kinds, by hundreds of drones and by hypersonics. Putin recently admitted that the persistent drone attacks done by NATO with the proxy Ukraine is starting to have a bit of an irritation problem in Russia. It's true that Crimea is experiencing shortages of fuel. Elsewhere in Russia, the shortages are being caused by people panic buying when there's no need because Russia still has more than enough diesel, petrol, kerosene for all its domestic needs, and it's still cheap. Putin personally has taken over chair of a committee to resolve the pressures on Crimea. You see, the Ukrainians and the West thought they were being clever by going after Russian petrol stations, Russian tankers supplying Crimea. Well, Russia has now systematically started to destroy all 6,000 petrol stations in Ukraine. Ukraine is again experiencing rolling blackouts as Naftogaz has just reported. In previous times, Europe was able to fill some of the backlog of these problems. However, Europe infamously is under a massive heat dome and experiencing a massive heat wave, which is making air conditioning necessary for the vast majority of the population, putting a huge strain on European power supplies. And Van der Crazy's idea of only giving the minions no AC and letting the top dogs have it ain't a solution that's going to work across Spain or France or anywhere else they have holidaymakers. So Europe has no excess power in which to give Ukraine. On the battlefields, Russia is less than 8 clicks from Kramatorsk, the last fortress city. All else has fallen. They are gaining all over the fucking map much more faster than anyone could have predicted. But Putin has admitted the drones are a problem. Now, he's not ranted and raved. He's not threatened. And that actually should be the thing to worry most. It's always been my experience that when someone is ranting and raving, they are not likely to start throwing punches. It's when they stop the ranting and raving and the threats that punches are about to start. There's always one. So where are you, Sven? Are you in fucking Ukraine? Are you in Russia? No, you're not. So fuck off. I mean, honestly, there's no keys at the petrol station. Wait, just wait. When I get to Iran, just wait. Oh, but that's all right. You're Norwegian because you've got oil, you've got refineries, so there's no queues at the petrol station there. What the fuck does that matter? Always got to be some cunt though that has to put it in. You know what I'm saying? It's like it could be raining fucking blood outside, and some cunt would say, "Oh well, it's sunny here." As I was saying, the fact that Putin hasn't been ranting and raving, but has been making quite significant speeches to the Conference of United Russia, the party he is nominally, but only nominally, head of, because he stands aloof from it, to the graduating class of all Russian officers, saying that effectively Russia is now recognizing that it's the entire collective West which is at war with Russia. I'm saying openly now that these long range drones, which are bothering Moscow, which are bothering the airports, which are bothering the Russian refineries, they're all Western made. And they're made in Holland, in Germany, in France, and the UK. They know where. They've got the addresses. Putin all along has attempted to avoid a large scale war with NATO. But NATO isn't taking the hint. Russia, a while ago, put Orezhnik into mass production. They're producing about 80 Orezhniks a month. That's one hell of a stockpile already, when you know what these weapons can do. Lukashenko spent 2.5 days in closed session with Putin. Nobody has revealed what was said. But he immediately took flight and went to Beijing, where President Xi said that the Chinese fully support Ukraine's territorial integrity, and that if Ukraine was stupid enough to launch a strike against Belarus, then China would fully have Belarus's back. He then went on to Indonesia to meet the president there, and then he's going to North Korea. I believe in each of these places he is carrying person to person communications from Vladimir Putin. The Russians just closed all rail links with Finland, Latvia, and Estonia. One of the whispers is that what was discussed by Putin and um, Lukashenko was the need to eradicate the fifth column in their country, and then they were going to need to go on a major offensive. This evening, Putin is in a closed-door session of the Russian Security Council. What's unusual about it is, normally, because of the size of Russia, some members of the Security Council, sometimes all of the Security Council, appear via secure video link. Not this time. This time, Putin has summoned everyone to the Kremlin. They all have top secret red folders. They are all in what Americans would call a SCIF, because the most secure form of communication is in a SCIF face-to-face, where there can be no chance of interception. I believe Russia's gearing up for something big. Whilst I said Putin never wanted to fight NATO, he's not a stupid man. And part of what he's been doing since 2022 is he's been building up the Russian reserve of missiles, of tanks, artillery, material, and men. The way to solve the drone problem in Russia, Putin said they're going to concentrate on defense. Have you ever heard the term, the best defense is offense? Right now, all the bombing looks like a softening up campaign. When the Russians inevitably free Donbass, you have an awful lot of Russian soldiers, tanks, war machines, missiles ready. Putin's also openly talking about Novorossiya, exactly what I told you from the beginning. They ain't settling until they take Nikolaev, Odessa, link up with Transnistria, but they're now going to go further. They're talking about Sumy, they're talking about Kharkiv. Interestingly, they brought to light the fact that Kiev was bought by Russia and therefore is still legally Russians. So we may finally see some big arrow moves, because only if Russia now crushes the Ukrainians, the Nazi regime in Kiev, as the Russian public have been crying for. That's how you stop the drones. And that's the gauntlet thrown down to the West. What are they going to do? That's the put up or shut up moment. On the flip side, Vance and Wickoff showed up in Doha. Remember how Trump, why do we even bother reporting what the fucking Oompa Loompa lunatic says? But remember, he tweeted, the Iranians are desperate to meet. Vance and Wickoff turned up in Doha to tumbleweed because the Iranians weren't there. But then Vance is up fucking stupid. He's given interviews saying the memorandum of understanding is simply to buy time to refill the petroleum stockpiles and to rearm. We're told that the Oompa Loompa was briefed in large-scale military operations against Iran, and none of them were particularly viable. But we see the maneuverings in Iraq, in Lebanon, and that's a corridor for, well, I don't know, the Kurds to attack. Don't think Erdogan's going to let them somehow, considering Israel is now openly saying they are soon going to attack Egypt and Turkey because the Israelis are suicidal. Benjamin Netanyahu is leading Israel straight into a civil war, but they're all genocidal fucking maniacs. The sooner this genocidal Zionistic maniac country ceases to exist, the safer the world will be. So, Trump's hand is now presently being held from doing anything else to Iran because Iran has shown dominance. And the ships, any ship America attempts to take through the Strait of Hormuz on the Omani side, Iran is blowing the hell out of. And the Americans have no fucking answer. This weekend is not only the 250th anniversary of the birth of the United States and the 4th of July, it's also the state funeral of the late Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. They expect in excess of 2 to 3 million people because this is in multiple locations in Iraq and 8 to 10 million people to turn out in Tehran. The new Supreme Leader Oh, what's his name? Um, doo, doo, doo. I wrote it down because I can't remember it off the top of my head because he's got a funny first name. He's Khomeini. Yeah, there we go. Mojtaba Khomeini, the man wounded when the Israelis and Americans attacked his father's compound, when the Israelis and Americans killed his father, killed his wife, killed his children. Well, he's expected to personally attend to oversee the funeral of his father. And the rumors abound that Israel is going to attempt to assassinate him. That would be a huge mistake. What makes me wonder, however, is our old friend Medvedev has also just announced that he will be personally attending Khomeini's funeral as representative of the Russian state. In other words, a marker put down to Israel. Medvedev will be standing right next to Khomeini. It's one thing to assassinate the supreme leader of Iran. Would you really assassinate the deputy of the Russian Security Council? I think Medvedev's actually been quite brave because I think the Israelis are crazy enough to do it. But there is no fury in hell that would suppress or surpass what Iran and Russia would then do to Israel. And yes, I know it all starts sounding like Ezekiel 38 once again. The new supreme leader, Motaba, he made it absolutely plain that he was against any negotiations with the Americans, but that he was allowing the politicians, under certain circumstances, i.e., there was things they could not, were not allowed to step back from in the negotiations, but he was allowing it. But he made it plain and in person. He said, I don't agree. What he means is, that is not my thinking. He is now making it very, very plain that he is getting very fed up with the American games, with the Israeli games, with the violations in Lebanon, in Gaza, and that he's quite happy to go back to full scale war. It may be that even if they don't assassinate him, Iran might just decide to go full bore against Israel anyway. Israel. Car bombs are going off all over Israel. Some of them are Hezbollah, but some of them are direct infighting in Israel between the political parties supporting Netanyahu, I'm a genocidal maniac, and Natalie Bennett, I'm a bigger genocidal maniac. Israel is literally tearing itself apart whilst at the same time attempting to fight on several different fronts. None of it makes any sense. The one thing which is certain sure is we are creeping ever closer to a moment which will send the world full bore into kinetic world war. Right now, Trump's shenanigans, whilst Vance is saying that Hormuz and the Memorandum of Understanding is to resupply and refill. The fact is that the Straits of Hormuz are not operating as normal. Strategic oil reserves globally are not being refueled. Middle distillates, diesel and kerosene, are the most vulnerable. And US strategic oil reserves are lower than they were at their lowest point in 1983. And every single time America pulls some sort of fish, the ships stop, come to a dead halt. The oil coming out of the Gulf is Iranian oil, and they're making lots of money on it. But it isn't going to America where you need it. It isn't going to Europe where we desperately need it. It's going to China and it's going to Asia. The economic collapse. No, you can't, Sven. The economic collapse that brought about the Memorandum of Understanding is not over the horizon now. It's literally peeking its head above it. And whilst Trump is ranting and raving at wanting to keep gas prices down, oil prices down, there's nothing that can stop the economic tsunami which is coming. In the midst of that, we have high pressure domes and heat waves. The US is cooking like a chicken on a barbecue. Europe is cooking like a steak on the barbecue. And Scotland is grey and dreary. Hey ho, we're used to it. No, Sven, it can be done from Venezuelan oil, but it's the middle distillates and it's the way refineries are set up, and none of that is easy to do. The best diesel comes from Russian and the Gulf heavy oil or kerosene, because you can't do both. At a refinery, you have to choose. Are your middle distillates going to be diesel or are they going to be kerosene? Hmm. And it ain't just about switching a tap from hot to cold water. It all takes time, and the clock is ticking. They're having real problems with AI, despite them rolling out robots everywhere, and I mean everywhere. The blessed BBC had an item today at breakfast television about how delivery robots are making it unsafe for other pedestrian users, vulnerable pedestrians like the disabled, people with pushchairs, etc. The Pentagon has concluded that AI up to now has been a disaster, that its targeting choices have only deepened the crisis. We'll go figure. There's a rumor that some AI robots at Ford went berserk and killed some humans, leading to Ford having to shut down AI and bring back some of the engineers that had laid off. And they're not the only company that I've heard that rumor from. That's not stopping China pushing forward. It's pushing AI robots into combat training. I've seen the videos of them tackling obstacle courses and live fire courses. You see, once you have an autonomous robot that can navigate over obstacles and terrain, it's easy to then load that with weaponry and ammunition. We truly live in the age of the Terminator. Orca attacks are spreading worldwide. Orcas don't attack boats or human, at least they didn't. There is lore of orcas, like dolphins, trying to warn mariners of danger coming. And in this age of pleasure craft, one wonders whether what is registered or reported as an orca attack might just be orcas warning the people on the boats to get off the water. The sun just spat out another massive CME, which is Earth directed, and X class flares to accompany it. And there was Joule 6.0 earthquakes. Something I said, Elizabeth, or just have to go? Joule 6.0 earthquakes in Mexico and in Japan, other side of the world from each other. Tells you something. Well, there you go. Don't cry, Jackie. Please don't cry. The whole purpose of this broadcast is not to make anyone scared. It's to make them informed. We are, if there is a resistance, we are it. So you need to know what you're fighting. Yes, Susan, that's exactly why they're doing it. The incoming sun's radiation would pickle and fry the planet where the ozone is gone. So, there we are then. That's your briefing for this evening. It is what it is, people. The world is a shit show. Donald Trump is a lunatic. But then, most of our leaders are either hugely incompetent or slightly unhinged. Lisa, that couldn't have said it better. Maybe the aliens will come and save us. We can only hope so. Okay, right. You guys take care. Try not to be too affected by this. It's only information. Until it's not. I feel bad saying it, but it's time for you to fuck it off. Enjoy what's rest of your evening or day or whatever, and feel free to listen to the song. Take care. Fuck it off. Bye.
I see a bad moon rising. I know there's trouble on the way. I see the earthquakes and lightning, and I see bad times ahead today. Don't come around tonight, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. I hear the hurricane blowing. I know the end is coming soon. I fear those rivers overflowing. I hear the voices breaking ruin. Don't come around tonight, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. I hope you got yourself together. I hope you're all prepared tonight. Looks like we're in for stormy weather. Wonder what you've been thinking about tonight. Don't come around tonight, it's bound to be a fight. There's a bad moon on the rise. Don't come around tonight, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. There's